Hello, Fear Hippie here is here, and today we are going to see what appears on my YouTube recommendations. We are going to be watching a video by JoJo R. Kaiser talking about the Ghoul, how he's doing in Dead by Daylight so far, because there's been a lot of different opinions about him as of late, and I kind of really want to see where our people place him as well. And near the end of the video, I'll probably give my thoughts as long as sprinkle it in throughout the video. So let's hop into things.
The killer has been out for like 2 days. Could we stop with the bitching? So this video was going to be very differently. I had done something that I thought was fairly interesting where I actually talked to you guys while I was trying to go for Kaneki's Adept. That was going to be the original video. It was going to be 3 games, and I was giving commentary on both how I was playing the game and things that I was noticing while I was playing the game about the character. And I thought it was going to be a really interesting look into the character. I thought it was a different way to do a character analysis. But the character has been out for like less than 2 days at the point of me recording this. I'm recording this at Jesus Christ, 3 o'clock in the morning on April 4th, right? So I'm probably going to throw this in the editor and you guys are going to see it like, you know, a couple hours or something. But it's been less than 2 days, and already there are just dozens and dozens of TikToks and posts on Reddit and just non-stop complaining about Kaneki from the Survivor side. And I am just so tired of this. This happens.
And I do want to say one thing that I found weird this go around, this killer, is apparently in the Spanish community is saying he is absolutely weak, while the American community has been saying he's absolutely strong and busted.
Every single killer release, every single time a killer gets changed or added to the game, the cries, the absolute whining before anyone has ever even taken a chance to try to figure out how to play against the new killer. There's just constant whining and complaining. Don't pee, he's broken. Shut up. Oh my god. Kaneki is not OP. He's not broken, and no, he cannot hit you from behind walls. Let's break down the complaints first, and then we're gonna get into like how I actually fully feel about this character, where I'm actually gonna show you guys the games that I was talking about showing you today, okay? So first off, Kaneki is the first, not accurate to say the first. Kaneki is a hit scan character. If you do not know, every other killer in the game, except for one, is a projectile character. That means whenever their ranged attacks go to hit you, those ranged attacks have a travel time. We're talking Huntress Hatchet, Artist Crows, Trickster Knives, Deathslinger's Gun, Dracula's Hellfire, Pyramid Head's Judgment. If you want to count Nurse as a ranged character when she teleports to you, right? It's got travel time. Every other thing in the game has travel time. Houndmaster's, well, Hound, Vecna's Skeleton, right? Every other thing that hits you from a range has a travel time. The only other thing in the game that is hit scan is Singularity. But the reason people don't really notice the Singularity's hit scan and the way that it acts is because it doesn't damage you, and it also doesn't hold you in place for a second. So if you're not aware, the difference between projectile and hit scan within video games is a projectile has travel time. It takes time to leave the character and get to the place where it is heading. But hit scan is instant. I don't know if you heard that.
I mean,
instant,
it's
right?
true.
It as soon as you click wherever the crosshair is, that is where the damage or the instance occurs, right then and there. So with oh, what was that? So with singularity in the past, if you go to round a corner and as you're rounding the corner, singularity clicks onto your body when his thing is green, he will instantly teleport to you even though you're still rounding the corner. The same thing happens with Kaneki or the Ghoul. When the teeth are on there and Kaneki clicks the button, he is already hitting you. The reason it looks like you're being hit around corners is because the animation of him getting to you has to play, but the instant of damage has already happened, right? So it looks weird and it feels weird, but it
It
has to
does.
work that way because, and I saw a post on the DBD Killers subreddit that kind of perfectly broke this down, and I can't find it right now, so I'm just going to summarize it from memory. But basically, if the power didn't work this way, it would have to work one of two ways. Either one, it would have to be that if Kaneki clicks on you when he sees the teeth
Oh,
and
that's
you
actually
round
a
a
good
corner,
perk to
then it
use up
instantly
against
stops the
Kaneki Chemical
power
Trap.
and Kaneki doesn't get the hit. This would not only feel bad for the killer, but it would also significantly bring down his power level because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of obstacles in this game, and breaking line of sight to the killer is really fucking easy, okay? But number two, the other option is to pull you back from around the corner, which would negate distance that you've made, and then play the animation, which would then feel bad from the survivor side. So, how he works now is how he has to work. I get that it doesn't feel right at first, but I promise you that everything that you have a problem with in regards to this power and how it works is an illusion. Okay, you are not losing distance when you get hit by Kaneki's tentacle grab thing because the animation that Kaneki is locked into is so unbelievably long, and you make a massive amount of if you instantly start running the second you regain control of your character, you make so
Hmm.
much distance while Kaneki is stuck in his little lick his palm.
Okay, I will say that the survivors are, I believe, losing some amount of distance. And the reason for this, is I believe I read on the wiki, Kaneki, he doesn't do it for a very long time. It's much like a nemesis, but he does apply a quick little hinder. So it does make it feel a little bit even more so off and a little bit more so janky. I believe the hinder effect is when he first performs the Kaguin mark on Kaguin mark on a survivor, and that's when the hinder is applied. So you do lose a little bit of distance from that.
Type of bullshit, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is there is counterplay. This character's counterplay acts a lot like the nurse or Blight or Billy, where you have to use your environment a hell of a lot more than most other killers, right? When Kaneki is going to leap for you, first off, I want you to understand that that auto lock on, you may think that it's overpowered because you sometimes get injured. Let me tell you something. When the survivors are playing the game
Hmm.
correctly and they're not wasting time healing and they're spending time on gens and things like that, that auto lock on can fuck you so much more than it actually helps you. But anyway, the point is that you can stop Kaneki from damaging you by blocking his line of sight. I'm gonna try to find it in the games that I was playing, but there was this point on Haddonfield where I was trying to lock onto this Sable and she kept using the car to like break my LOS, so I couldn't get the teeth over her so that I could actually damage her. That was really good counterplay. On to the other types of
Uh,
counterplay.
was that
Kaneki
the
does have counterplay.
he had a clip of Sable there. Is that not the same clip? I would really like to see that, see what it looks like. I feel like that'd be interesting, learn how to break the line of sight a little bit. I have been trying to incorporate jungle gems into my loots because I feel like he's very good at he gets more so countered by jungle gems than anything else, but even then it feels hard going up against him.
Guys, guess what? You already know it. It's just like the Legion and just like the Plague. Don't waste your time healing. Kaneki's biggest strengths is that he can get across the map in seconds. And that ability to get across the map in seconds means that he is able to chase down and injure you very quickly. So if you waste all of this time healing, then he's just going to re-injure you with his power. Whereas if you don't heal, yeah, he might still attack you with his power to get his little enraged mode so he can have 3 leaps, but those leaps are not easy to use. And I can tell you right now from experience that good survivors can outplay Kaneki. No, he is not a solo Q stomper. That's not how he works. The way he works is that he is an M1 killer that he kind of plays like Blight, but not quite to the amount of control that Blight has, right? Blight has a lot of control with his bumps that allow him to like micromanage the way he navigates a loop, whereas Kaneki can get slingshot much further than he thinks he's going to. There's a lot of micromanaging when you're facing a Kaneki and like trying to force him to sling forward and then doubling back so that you can get away from him, or maybe getting over a safe window or a safe pallet, because his vault is actually not that fast. When he vaults with his tentacles, it's way slower than you think it is. So you're basically playing against an M1 killer that can
See, that's one thing I disagree with. His vaults, I feel like, are pretty good speed. I will say his vault and their pallets feel like a little bit slower. I believe they are a quarter or maybe half a second slower for vaulting their pallets. But vaulting over actual vault locations, he moves pretty quickly if through that animation, especially when it's a certain tile or certain layout. And even like he's turned some god palettes I've seen into dead zones, like with that Starva video. Um, so I believe his vaults could maybe use a nerf in some regard. Um, let's keep going.
sling himself across longer loops, right? So he can play long loops a little bit better than most killers. But at the end of the day, I promise you guys,
He
he is
can.
not that strong. You just haven't played against him enough, and he hasn't been out long enough for content creators like Ots and Hens and other educational creators to teach you how to play against him. But I promise you, after playing Kaneki for a good portion of the past day and a half, I can promise you that there is counterplay to him. Now, with all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the other 3 games. If you don't want to watch them, that's fine. You know, big thank you to my channel members as always. You're welcome to end the video here. I know I've already been rambling for like 10 and a half
Oh,
minutes, but
okay.
I'm going to go ahead and show
I was
you
wondering why it was a
the
longer
original
video.
games that I wanted to show you for this video. And they're all timestamped down below if you want to come back to it later. But I love you guys so much. I
Does
hope
he
you
have
enjoy the
that
games.
video of him
That's my
facing the
rant.
Sable at the car?
In his research, Dr. Morrison.
Make sure you give Kaiser a like and follow. Possibly me a like and follow so I can afford YouTube Premium and skip ads, and drink lots of water and tell your loved ones you love them.
We actually got it earlier
Okay,
this
I want to
morning.
see if I can find that video I believe he's talking about. Was it Haddonfield?
Just trap survivors into this like lose-lose S tier. S tier. I would say the Ghoul's about B tier. The Ghoul is not S tier. Do not take that. The Ghoul's about B tier. I would say somewhere about mid to high B. Once you get over the skill floor, you're just gonna find a lot of like the map mobility is just insane, right? Like the map mobility is tantamount to like Blight's map mobility. It's just absolutely fucking crazy. The speed at which you can just trap survivors into this like lose-lose situation is pretty insane. But getting to that point is so difficult, right? getting to that point is just such a pain in the ass. I was testing other builds earlier, and I think you're gonna find perks like coup de grace, bamboozle, blood favor. These like really powerful chase perks are gonna pretty much be the way that you handle this killer, which kind of sucks because none of this killer's perks work super well with them, which is just a damn shame.
That's true.
Um, I don't know why behavior always insists on releasing perks that the killer, like releasing killers with perks that the killer can't use. They did it with Bubba, like both Franklin's and Knockout only work with basic attacks, and Bubba is an M2 killer. They did it with a couple of others. I can't think of it off
At least they
top of my
gave
head
him
right
the
now.
Franklin's
Um,
add-on.
well, Knockout's not an M1 perk anymore, but yeah. Also, like, even Barbecue and Chili is kind of technically like a perk Bubba can't use very well because he doesn't have a lot of map mobility, so he can't.
He's
Oh
very
shit, I
much a
missed that.
slugger, so barbecue
So he
doesn't work
can't.
on him the best.
He can't like use like Barbecue and Chili that well either. And Kaneki's the same way, man. Like he's not a M2 killer in the sense that like, oh, he needs to he's not an M2 killer in the sense that like he can only use his M2. But he's an M2 killer in the sense that like he's not going to be doing a lot of damage with his.
Yes. So going back to how strong I would rate the Ghoul, I would rate him higher than Kaiser. I feel like the Ghoul is A tier because he seems to me to be a mixture of both Plague and Blight. Blight has more precision, obviously, but the Kaneki has the slowdown of keeping people injured at all times, which is very, very nice. It's not wise to heal up against Kaneki, as I tried to heal the Air Knight playing against him. It just doesn't work. He finds you so quickly, even if you pre-run with him having the 40-meter terror radius. Um, he can still heavily, heavily punish you for that. Um, Also, I will say that um, I feel like to make him a bear killer go up against new players, like I'm fine with him having a hit scam, but I feel like he does need a little bit more precision with it, and there needs to be some type of what do you call it, anti-tunnel mechanic up against him because he is probably one of the best killers I've seen in the game at tunneling, and there needs to be some type of mechanic, kind of like Xenomorph, where he goes slower through tunnels, kind of like Twins, where he take longer to change forms. Um, because Kaneki, he can proxy count from a tremendous long ways away, and I feel like there needs to be something where if there's an unhook, if somebody's near hook, I feel like he should be have a slower speed getting back to hook because he gets back to hook so freaking quickly. It's nearly impossible to stop Kaneki who wants the tunnel, and especially given he has such a low skill floor. At first, I kind of felt like he was confusing using, but I really ended up picking up on him very quickly, learning all about his power. He does have a skill ceiling as well, but he also has a very low skill floor for even newer players, even more so than Blight, which I find very detrimental to a lot of the community because it really affects new players badly, especially Survivor players. So I would like to see him nerfed in that regard. I wish his slowdown and effects were from add-ons were a little bit more impactful. I feel like he has a lot of stat boosting add-ons, but he doesn't have very much effects, unfortunately. I would like to see more effects on him. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Kaneki. Just best way I can summarize him and how I feel about him right now. I was not enjoying my time playing up against him. I'm a pretty decent survivor. So for me not enjoying my time playing up against him, I enjoy playing up against the majority of the roster. Um, Nearly all the roster I would say I enjoy playing up against, but I'm not enjoying playing up against Kaneki. I love playing as him. I love playing the drifting killer. Um, but I have to admit he does negatively affect solo queue and newer players in a way that is just not healthy for the game, I feel like at this point in time. But that is the end of my video. I hope y'all all have a wonderful and great day, and I will see y'all around. Bye bye.